Welcome to today's webinar. Today we'll talk about navigating the world of Microsoft agents and learn about the different kinds of Copilot agents, from simple retrieval agents to advanced autonomous agents, and how they can expand Copilot's knowledge and skills to complete tasks and automate processes. This is especially an interesting topic as Copilot Chat has now started hitting the GCC tenants, and some of this capability is coming to you quickly. So with that said, I have Tim Lynch and John Parrott, both from our organizational change management team. Both of these guys are actively working with our customers today on building agents, just like we're going to be talking about today. So Tim, John, thanks for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having us, Ken.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got a full agenda. So let's go ahead and get started. We always like to do some quick polls here. We'd love to know where you are in your journey. So first things first, can you let us know, have you enabled Microsoft 365 Copilot in your organization? Are you getting started with that? We'd love to hear from you. Next, have you built an agent? Any agent, just kind of curious whether you've actually started exploring agents. And then finally, who's responsible for AI agents in your agency or organization? And this is multiple choice, I believe, so you can go ahead and select multiple items there. On today's agenda, we'll talk about the integration of Copilot and agents and discover how Copilot agents work together to provide human augmentation and automate tasks and processes, creating a seamless experience for users. We will start with a quick overview of agents and then dive right into the demo where we will build a retrieval and task agent using Copilot Studio. This demo will help you understand the tools available for creating agents, and we will, at the end, we'll demo a building of an autonomous agent as well. After the demo, we'll talk a little bit about licensing and costs to gain some insights into the licensing models and options for Copilot Studio and how agent costs are calculated based on their capabilities. To set expectations today, I will briefly talk about admin controls, but we will hold off on a lengthier conversation, saving that for later because there's so much to talk about for admin controls and governance. And a lot of this is still being moved around eventually to the Copilot control system. So things are changing quickly there. Be on the lookout for that in the near future from us. And of course, we'll save time at the end for questions and feedback. We really want to hear from your questions, so please be thinking of them. Put them in the chat window, and we'll definitely get to them. I know we received a bunch of questions in advance. We definitely have them queued up, and we'll be dealing with that towards the end of the program. Finally, I've collected a bunch of web links, like I mentioned, for your research for later on, so make sure you check out the links at the end of the presentation. So let's start with Copilot. Most of you know by now, Copilot is a powerful tool for improving personal productivity, but it can also be used to automate tasks and processes. This is where agents come in. I want to take this time to provide clarity on agents and the relationship between agents and Copilot. At the top level, Copilot is your personal AI assistant for work. Agents augment Copilot with skills and knowledge. And agents can be connected to Copilot, or they can operate autonomously and automate tasks and processes on their own. So what are Copilot agents? Copilot agents are AI-powered assistants embedded in M365 designed to help your teams accomplish tasks faster, reduce manual effort, and improve decision-making with quick access to accurate information. Think of them as a digital colleague that enhances your team's productivity, handling repetitive or complex tasks so your employees can focus on more strategic, high-level activities. Agents can perform various tasks to assist people and organizations, like retrieve information, query systems like HR, CRM systems, financial databases. They can help with basic tasks like submitting an expense report, updating CRM systems, creating IT help desk tickets. They can perform specialized roles like facilitating meetings, compiling research reports, and analyzing data sets. They can automate processes like handling financial planning, sales qualifications, and supplier communications. This diagram outlines agent language architecture and the capabilities of Copilot agents. Agents designed to automate and execute business processes either independently or in collaboration with us, the humans. So starting at the top, the human experience. This is optional as agents can interact with users directly, but it's not always required. Agents can also operate autonomously. The orchestrator. This is your central hub that coordinates all the agent's functions. It manages how the agent uses its knowledge, skills, and autonomy to complete tasks. Then we got knowledge including grounding, connecting to real-time data or enterprise systems, and memory, retaining context or past interactions. This allows the agent to make informed decisions. Next, we have skills, encompasses actions, triggers, workflows. These are the practical capabilities the agent uses to perform tasks, responds to events, and follow structured processes. Finally, we have autonomy, which covers planning, handling exceptions, and self-learning. These features enable the agent to operate with a degree of independence, adapt to new situations, and improve over time. They are foundational models. These are large AI models like LLMs that power the agent's understanding, reasoning, and generation capabilities. They form the base layer of the system. Let's take a closer look at how agents operate within the secure and trusted environments, one that aligns with your organization's existing M365 and Azure security standards. We start with data security. Agents inherit your Microsoft 365 sensitivity labels and adhere to DLP policies. This ensures that sensitive information is protected by default. Grounding is intelligent. It respects your existing permissions and security controls, so agents only access what users are authorized to see. And for oversight, you get comprehensive visibility into user behavior, data access, and agent-related risks. Moving on to access and cost controls, admins can manage who has access to agents and who can create and share them. This helps prevent sprawl and ensures agents are only used where appropriate. You can also track and manage cost, gaining operational insights to optimize usage and budget. Finally, measurement and reporting. Super key for any organization. You'll have access to core telemetry to monitor usage and adoption. You can track how agents improve user productivity and compare their impact across teams. This helps you understand how Copilot and agents are driving business outcomes. It's important to note all agents stay within the M365 and Azure service boundary. That means your existing security, governance, compliance, and privacy policies continue to apply, ensuring a consistent and trusted experience. So how do they work? Well, agents are available in a wide capability of tools and levels of complexity depending on your organizational needs. There are a few types of agents that span the spectrum of simple to advanced levels of complexity. Let's start with the least complex, retrieval. Retrieval agents, considered the smart librarian, are designed with specific instructions on how to behave, their personality, and their overall objectives. They follow a predefined rules and guidelines set by the creators. From a human perspective, imagine a team member asking a question about HR policies. From a technical perspective, it fetches a precise, relevant data from internal knowledge repositories like a SharePoint site or database or wiki. Then there's task agents. Consider them the personal assistant, a tightly connected specific workflow or process. They operate based on knowledge, skills, and rules-based automation. Their primary purpose is to automate repetitive tasks. From a human perspective, consider repetitive tasks like scheduling meetings, responding to standard emails, or updating records. Finally, we have autonomous agents, the virtual team member, which operate independently, dynamically planning and learning from the processes. They adapt to changing conditions and make decisions without constant human intervention. Lastly, we have multi-agent orchestration, which is not on the slide, but I did want to mention it's the collaborative team agent type of thing. And this is the new guy in the block. From a human perspective, think of multiple agents working together like a team of experts, each contributing their specialty to handle complex workflows seamlessly, such as preparing client proposals, managing comprehensive project deliverables. I think this is a great time now to see if there's any questions, and then we'll move on to the demo here with Tim starting us off. So let me go ahead and queue up Tim. If there's no questions, I don't think there's any questions yet, but definitely fill out those polls if you haven't done it so already. And we'll go ahead and get started with the demo. Tim, you're up.
Yeah, we've been watching the chat. So, agents, there's a lot here, but this is what you're seeing on the screen here is just going through creating an agent for me. In college, I took 4 classes with Professor Barbara, and that poor woman had to suffer through my attendance and participation for 4 different semesters. And I still didn't get it. So what I've done is I made an agent. I go into Copilot and I say, I'm going to make an agent. That's Barbara. She's my college professor. And Ken, is the video going?
Seems like it's stopped. Let me see. Oh, there it goes.
Okay.
There it goes.
Perfect. So I just go into Copilot, and that's literally what I say to Copilot. I say, I'm making an agent for Barbara. She's my English professor. She's firm but friendly. And I want you to make an agent for her. All I did was copy and paste that in to creating an agent. You can describe anything you want to describe here. And what Copilot is going to do is it's going to then figure out from my blubbering what it actually needs to do. And then it's going to create the description, it's going to create the title, it's going to put everything in. So as you can see here, it's already created Barbara. Barbara's got some information. She's got instructions and ready to go. If you click over to the configure tab, this is where what I'm doing is I'm adding, we do a lot of technical writing, so I've got some technical writing resources. I'm going to add those into Barbara so that she can use those. But that's really it. That's all I need so that I can come in and kind of always pass my writing through Barbara and get some feedback to make my writing better. This is for me. This is my agent. So I click create. Copilot spins up Barbara. It should. I think it paused again.
Let me see. Nope, it's going.
Okay. So this is 2 minutes from talking to Copilot, copying and pasting it over to create an agent, and now it's ready to go. So I can say that I am working with the Historical Society and I need to create a plan for this project. We want to do something like summers throughout history. That's a pretty boring and simple prompt. And as you can see, Barbara's already gone through and said, okay, well, if this is what you want to do, here are some things you should be thinking about. Thank you. One of the other things that it does is it gives me additional suggestions, which is on the bottom right-hand side. So do I want to start from a blank Word document, or would I like Barbara to give me a template? I'm lazy, so I'll say, give me a template. Again, my input here, this is the important part, is really simplistic. Give me a template. So Barbara has now laid out what the budget is, the expected outcomes, everything that I need for this. And at the bottom, I can now edit this in Pages. So here's a page. This is a Copilot page. I can go through and add more information here if I want to, or let's jump into Microsoft Word. And what Copilot's going to do is it's going to take that Copilot page, bring it into Microsoft Word, and I have to do a little bit of cleanup to get rid of the, the boilerplate stuff. But in general, I've got now a formatted Microsoft Word framework for what I was going to work on. This is when Tim has to stop being lazy and actually get in and do a little bit of the work here. But this video, this is shot in real time. So this was 3 minutes from, I think I need Barbara to always be available for me. Start working on this plan. Okay, give me a framework, get me into Microsoft Word. That was 3 minutes from creating an agent to using the agent for the first use case to now I'm in Microsoft Word and I can start going through and filling out what the project description is and everything for this. So, there's a lot of, and we're going to cover a lot today on agents. They don't have to be overly complicated. They can be a very specific agent that helps you do your job. It's about those moments to save you time. So let's put Barbara on pause for a second. Oh, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, so this is just a simple retrieval agent that you've uploaded some documents to, and now you're getting generative capabilities from it, yeah?
Exactly. Yep. So Barbara's different than general Copilot because she's got instructions on how to interact with me, what tone to take. And I could do all of that every time I start a Copilot prompt. I could go in and say, act as a college English professor, be firm but gentle because Tim tends to not listen to you. Like I could do that in every single prompt, but that gets annoying. So by making an agent that already has those instructions, I can just jump in and start talking to her.
Perfect. So there was a question about how Barbara's different than using a regular Copilot and asking the same things. You just answered that question. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly, Renee. That's if I sat and did a very long prompt to start the chat, I could do that. But technical writing is something that I have to do so many times a day. And that would be just super, I'm lazy. So I don't want to, keep the prompt and then copy paste and then edit the prompt every time I do it. I'm really lazy. I just want to call Barbara and
Yep.
have her know what needs to get done.
Fantastic. All right. Anything else to show us here, Tim?
Yeah, well, in the next, so can you click to the next example?
Yep.
And let's see. Okay, so perfect. So, and in this next example, we take public information. So I'm using, for example, just the city or the town of Cary, North Carolina, right? We're just going to use them as an example. And, oh, this is Barbara.
Oh, sorry. I thought, hold on. There we go.
There it is. Okay. So the city of Cary, North Carolina, they've got their community plan for the town. Town is about 160,000 people. It's a pretty big town. And they've got this flip book. It's, 200 plus pages of, a ton of information that covers everything that's going on by every department. And I could read through 240 pages, but I think from the Barbara example, you kind of already got how lazy Tim is. So what I'm going to do is I'm making myself another agent. So I come in here and I say, okay, we've got our community plan. And what I want you to do is to be a docent, right? Act like a museum docent. I want you to have all of the information that's in the community plan, but I want to talk to you.
Seems like it's stuck. Oh, there it goes. It's going again.
So I'll click create an agent, just like I did with Barbara. And I used Copilot to talk about this. So the Copilot response of, okay, I'll give you the instructions. Copilot gave me those. So all I do is copy and paste that in. And I did say, I'd like it to be, with a little Southern hospitality and friendly. Paste that in. And then, here it is. It's processed all of the information. It suggests a name for me. And I think I wanted to change the name. And what I like to call out about myself here is, if you notice, the longest amount of time is waiting for Tim Lynch to actually type, right? Like where's the bottleneck? The bottleneck is my fingers, right? It's my brain to my fingers. So change the name to Cary Community Plan. It's done. I hop over to the configuration tab, and this is where I can always make changes to update my agents. And for the knowledge, I'm going to give it the flipbook, the PDF of those. So I'm going to give it both PDFs. And another thing that I can do here is actually just take the URL from the public website and add that as a knowledge source.
Nice.
So now this is the Cary Community Plan agent. It's grounded in all of the knowledge of the 200+ page PDF regarding the community plan. And now I can just interact with this. So the Cary Community Plan, just like Barbara's, ready to go. So if I ask it, how should we approach changes to the Parks Department? And again, we have to wait for Tim Lynch to type. I apologize. And then Copilot will go to work. It looks at its knowledge. So the knowledge that the agent is in. It gives me the summary, but it gives me the summary contextualized to what it means for the Parks Department. So this is it's not just go look at a PDF and copy and paste it out. It's contextualize it to what I'm talking about. As with everything in Copilot, it cites its source. So you'll see the references that are there, the little 1s and 2s at the end. It'll tell me where in those PDFs, what sections that information is in. And so this, did it pause?
Let me see. Looks like it's almost over. Is it over?
Hit pause. Yep.
No, it's going. Okay. Starting again.
Perfect.
It was over.
Yeah. So again, so what I wanted to show in these, so this is 6 minutes that you spent painfully watching a video recording of me typing. But the point is I now have 2 agents. One agent is my college English professor to keep on me to write better. And the other agent is if I worked for this city and I always want to make sure that what I'm doing aligns with where we're trying to go for our strategic objectives. I've got a bot that's ready to help me and ready to point me where it is. So
Pretty
these
awesome.
are,
Yeah.
and Ken, this is what Ken was talking about at the beginning. These are knowledge agents, right? It's taking the large language capabilities of Copilot, but then it's kind of giving it additional instructions to contextualize for how I want to process that information.
All right. What's next, guys?
So, oh, go ahead, John.
Oh, well, I was going to say, I think it's time to move on to what the next evolution of an agent can do, unless, Tim, you want to show something else.
Well, Ken, if you click the next slide, because before I bring John in for more, I do want to take just 2 minutes to talk about the value of these. So Interact says that the average person wastes 1.6 hours a day looking for information. McKinsey says they're wrong, it's actually 1.8. And IDC says they're both wrong, it's actually 2.5. So this is, three pretty big, opinions. Their research is on this, on how much time people spend looking for information throughout our day. An agent, you can tell Barbara's already saving me a ton of time. The community agent already saving me a ton of time. So if you click next, this is from the book Come Up for Air. And it does highlight our time problem that we all have. So what the point of this is how long does it take to get done an 8-hour task? Well, if somebody had nothing to do, an 8-hour task would take them 1 day to get done. And I don't think anybody on our audience has nothing to do. I think you're all overworked and have no time. So to get done something that would normally take 8 hours, for this audience, I think you're pretty far on the right-hand side of this curve, where an 8-hour task could take you 100 days to accomplish something like that. So where Copilot can save time, it actually really matters. So the next slide says, does that equate to money? And if we take the McKinsey and IDC studies that talk about how much time is spent searching for information, and we take how busy we are and how much time Copilot agents can save us, if it saves 10 people 10 hours a week, that's 250 grand a year in savings. If it's 100 people, it's 2.5 million. The point here is, it's those little moments that Copilot agents can save you time. They really add up. All of those nickel and dime moments add up to serious savings. And this is theoretical. And Ken, if you click the next slide, this is not theoretical. This is an actual customer of ours that had deployed Copilot to a department of 110 users within the first month. This is all of the areas in email, in Teams chat, in documents that Copilot saved time. So,
and these are available through Copilot Analytics, I guess that's where you got these from?
Exactly. Yep.
Yep. Yep. So there's capabilities. Once you have licenses in your tenant, you start getting some analytics lit up in your dashboards that'll help you with the ROI conversation, like Tim has shown here today. All right.
Absolutely. So that's crawl and walk. And now I'm going to tag in John to show us about running.
Sounds.
Feel free to take over the desktop there, John.
Will do. And it sounds good, Tim. Welcome, everyone. So as Tim was illustrating, agents can do a great job of being able to have a hyper focus on specific elements that you want Copilot to look at without you having to go through all of the rigmarole of establishing that in your very first prompt. However, there are different steps of agents. What Tim has just shown is a retrieval agent where it's pulling information, but they are capable of so much more. So in order to build a little bit of a narrative for how this task agent I'm about to show you is going to work, I'm going to first show you that we are now using Microsoft Forms. And in Microsoft Forms, which you can create a bunch of different forms, we've created one for public comments. On this form, it's basically an idea that a city wants to hear from its citizens about different committees and how they're functioning within the city infrastructure. And so therefore people can come in even outside of your organization, fill out this form, and get that information to you in the form of an Excel document. Now this Excel document is constantly being updated. It is one source of truth, and every time a new submission comes in through that form, it gets put into this Excel document, which makes it a great knowledge source for our agent. So much like what Tim was showing us earlier, I have gone ahead and created an agent called the Public Comments Agent, and I'm going to ask a specific question about one of our committees. In this case, I'm going to ask, hey, what's the general feeling of the Historic Preservation Commission over the last 30 days? Now, Copilot is going to automatically know I've added that knowledge source. It's not going to look at anything else within the system of your tenant. It's only going to look at what I pointed it at. So it's going through very quickly, finding out which items were commenting about the Historical Preservation Society. It's finding the dates in which they were submitted, and then creating a comprehensive summary of what people are sharing about that usage. And as you can see, it has given me somewhat of a really great insight into what people have been saying about this lately, giving me ideas about what is important to the people. Now, I love having this information, and I definitely want to send it to somebody or other people on the commission so that they can have this type of insight as well. However, I could go through the process of copying this, pasting it into an email, formatting it a little bit better so it makes more sense and I give context, or I can use my agent to help out with that. So upon seeing this answer, and to prevent us from having to go a Tim speed of typing, I went ahead and typed out my next prompt, which is, that's really interesting. Again, if you're not talking to your agent or your Copilot like a person, you're probably missing out on some really great interactions with it. And I ask, do you think that you can send this to the commission members as an email? Maybe include a separate list of actual comments with the names of who submitted the comments bolded. So not only am I giving it a task, but I'm also saying, hey, here's some formatting that I want to see and how you're going to be delivering that. I go ahead and send that into Copilot. It's compiling that answer and looking at a set of instructions that is already being established by the agent. And when it is completely done, it's going to notify me that it has completed. Whenever it's good and ready, of course, it takes an extra 2 minutes each time that you try and present on agents, because it likes to make people sweat a little bit when they're trying to show off all of its amazing capabilities. But if I had to guess, this might already be done, so I'm going to flip back on over and look at my mail. Now, I don't have anything in my inbox because I'm not part of the committee. But if I go to my sent items, oh, it looks like it has not been sent yet. Let's go back to our teams and see if it's been completed. This was taking about a minute when I was doing it before, so this is disappointing to see the time frame. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Now
Yay.
the email has been sent.
John, like, set expectations here. 1 minute has you impatient.
Exactly, exactly, as it's doing all of these tasks for me. So again, I'm not on the committee, but it automatically knows that Jonathan Robinson and our very own Tim Lynch are on this commission. And it has already written me an email giving a summary of what they're looking at, giving the information that I was able to retrieve based on my questioning of the system. And as I asked, here are all the people that submitted answers over the last 30 days and what they exactly said. So I can reference those in time. So it's pulled all of that information for me. Now, how did I get this to work? Well, let's take a look under the hood. Now, as Tim was displaying to you, the creation of agents can be very simple just from within Teams or your Copilot homepage. But in order to get elements such as task agents involved, we have to actually go into something called Copilot Studio, which is its own web page. Now, if you were to create an agent in Copilot Studio, you could click this create button and it's going to walk you through a very similar step than what we saw with Tim, where it can have a conversation with you in order to build out your agent. I've already done this, and as you can see, I have a name, I have a description, and I have some general instructions that I've given it. I've said, hey, your job is to read through data of this public comments Excel document and deliver insights. And I even started saying, hey, you know what? When asked if there's emails concerning the Cultural Arts Committee, send that to Tim Lynch and Noah Sparks. If it's about emails concerning the Historic Preservation Commission, talk to Jonathan Robinson and Tim Lynch. So I can go ahead and just start setting names. You'll also notice I didn't put in anyone's email. Because Copilot is built into your Microsoft 365 system, it's going to know that these people are inside your tenant and automatically being able to pull that information for you. So you don't have to just make it word by word. You can literally go more by your thoughts and desires and let Copilot fill in the blanks. Now, as we scroll down, you'll see that we have the ability to turn on orchestration, which allows for that answering to be very natural and flowing. You have the ability to change your response model a little bit to the different versions of ChatGPT. You'll also be able to see analytics of your agent, but we start getting into some things that we were seeing with Tim. First of all, our knowledge base. And as you can see, there's my public comments Excel document, and it's notifying that it's within OneDrive. If I click this Add Knowledge button, you're going to see that I have the ability to add in public websites, SharePoints, Dataverse, Azure, Salesforce, ServiceNow, as well as OneDrives and SharePoints that I have access to. So I can go across multiple different platforms and getting all of this information there. However, what really starts to change is when I add in this tool system. And as you can see, I've given it the ability to just send an email. So whenever I click in this send an email option, you're going to see that I have some slight descriptions that is connected to it. But as far as the to line, the subject line, the body line, all of that is being dynamically filled in with AI. I'm not having to tell it what to say. It's automatically figuring out what needs to be put in those slots. And that's not just limited to what we can see as far as Outlook is concerned. If I click on Add Tool, many of you that are familiar with Power Automate are going to see connectors that look very familiar, from being able to start conversations within Teams or adding posts into chats, from being able to add planner items if you need to, looking at SharePoint, adding items to a SharePoint list, checking out files, so on and so forth. So anything that you can pretty much do within Power Automate, you can have Copilot do with that generative AI fill-in ability. However, if you do need to do something very specific and you want Copilot's help with it, you can go ahead and actually add in agent flows that call in Power Automate itself, where you can design a Power Automate that the agent will work with. Now, this is all well and good. I now have an agent that has the ability to send an email. And if I wanted to, I could have it also do multiple different things. I could have it send it Teams messages. I could have it update Word documents, so on and so forth, anything that Power Automate would do. But maybe I don't want to have to actually do any work whatsoever. I want this process to be automated. Well, I happen to also have a public comments agent that is automated as well. So what I've done here, as soon as it loads in, is basically create a trigger system where I can come down here underneath my tool section and see triggers, and I have a 15-day trigger, meaning that every 15 days, it is going to fire off this agent's actions. And in this case, it's doing something very similar to what I was asking my other agent to do. Just now, I don't have to give it the instructions to do it. It knows to do it every 15 days. And I can always test what that looks like by coming down here to the trigger, pressing the test trigger button, saying, hey, go ahead and start testing. And anytime you are in Studio and you are asking a question of your agent, it's actually going to walk you through the process of the multiple steps it takes in order to complete your answers. So as you can see right now, it's searching its sources, which is that public documents Excel. Once it compiles the answer that I'm looking for, it will go ahead and trigger off the emails that I was asked for. Now, in the past, what we saw, I asked for one email to be sent to one commission. In this case, I've gone ahead and say, hey, send an email to 3 different commissions and look at their individuals. And as you can see, it's already writing out my responses. And boom, 3 emails have been sent. If I go back into my mail option and look at my sent items, you'll see that I have 3 emails that have a very similar formatting, that have all that information to specific individuals, and I did not have to ask it to do a thing. It's automatically performing these tasks for me. So yes, these are some amazing things that we can do to set up tasks, meaning that your agent just isn't thinking, it's actually doing, but also automation, where you are giving authority to your agent to go ahead and make your life that much easier. Now, Ken, I haven't been able to follow along if there's any questions. Is there anything that I can help answer for anybody?
Is definitely powerful. And in fact, I think back like, 5, 6, 7 years ago when I was in North Carolina state government, and we had to do this very similar thing with constituent services. We had to build a dynamic solution that today could probably have been done with Power Apps, but this even makes it simpler with an agent to basically take constituent service questions in and then dole them out to the actual agencies that are responsible for answering the questions. So this is incredible. The question came in about, can you do a stopgap and actually send it to a draft status of your inbox? Yes, you can do that today instead of sending it directly out. And then another question was about whether you get the dashboard. Where is the dashboard? It's part of Viva. And today, at least, I know that if you buy 50 licenses of M365 Copilot, you get that lit up in your tenant, the analytics part. That may be changing. It's changing so fast. But I can tell you for sure, though, that comes with you have at least 50 licenses. I've seen that already. So is there a way to test it? I guess the question is from Rajesh is about, is there a way to test this before, sending it out to general availability? I'll let you guys answer this question.
Of course. So as I'm sharing on the screen right now, you have this test your agent feature that usually automatically opens up whenever you're using an agent. Because this is my autonomous agent, I'm not going to necessarily show too much of that. I'm going to hop back over to just my regular agent to kind of show how this works. So I have built this agent, but I've already published it. That's why you were able to see it within my teams. But before you even publish your agent, you're able to go ahead and do some testing directly here in this test your agent category, where you can ask questions like, what's the latest opinion on the Cultural Arts Committee? Please excuse my horrible spelling, but it will be able to track that. And once again, not only can you see it as it's being presented to you in the different ways that it's looking for information and what it's displaying, but also once it's completed, you'll be able to actually track the conversation history as well, being able to see, oh, this is every step that it did and what the questions were that came around with it. If you need to change your agent or update your agent after it's published, you can do all of your testing right here. And once you are happy with your finished result, you can go ahead and publish there instead of having to work in the live environment. I also see a question from Matt. What organizational controls are available to prevent a user from intentionally or unintentionally making mass edits of thousands of documents across SharePoint sites or emailing sensitive information to outside recipients? What defaults should be adjusted for security purposes? Matt, that's a great question. I'm going to take a swing at it, and then I'll throw it to Ken and Tim to maybe answer a little bit more. But the answer is, I would say an agent needs to be addressed the same way that you would address Power Automate within your organization. It's an incredibly powerful tool, but this is not necessarily a user tool, it is a developer tool. Now, that doesn't mean a normal user can't become a, development user, but it does mean that you need to have some sort of structure so that people using this program understand how it works and has some type of connection. We always highly suggest having a Microsoft Champions program within your organization so you can share information and help prevent people from making mistakes like you were sharing there. I'll tell you myself, I actually worked in a company where when I was first learning Power Automate, managed to send myself an email every minute for 5 minutes. Every second for 5 minutes. It was terrible. I could not get logged in because it was bogging down my system so much. So I completely understand that fear, but with knowledge, training, and creating a user group that works together to learn the system, I think you'll find that you can avoid a lot of those pitfalls. Tim,
Yeah,
anything
just
you
to
want to add
follow
to
up
that?
on Matt's, just to follow up on Matt's question, earlier on in the conversation, I mentioned that Copilot's not going to change any permissions, it's not going to change any security, and it's going to listen to any DLP or sharing sensitivity labels and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to take all that into consideration. So if the agent has access, then the agent has access. But if the data that it's grabbing is protected, then that those are an extra level of control, and that's why it's so important that put those purview controls in place and make sure that your permissions are in line as well for what they need to be. So again, Copilot and agents are not going to change any permissions. They're going to adhere to all the settings that are in your tenant. I think that's the answer there. All right. I want to make sure we save some time at the end for some more questions. So I'm going to go ahead and take control back. John, you're done, right? Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and take control back and finish and wrap some things up and talk about licensing and costs a little bit. So let me go ahead and get started here. So how do you build agents, right? So you just saw the guys, Tim and John, they were using Copilot Studio, but it really depends on what kind of agent you're trying to build and how you're licensed. So overall, though, Copilot Studio is the single-stop end-to-end tool that provides a complete life cycle for designing, enhancing, and managing agents from a single pane of glass. Getting access to Copilot Studio depends on what kind of user you are and what you have access to. So end users can build in the agent builder, available in M365 Copilot Chat and SharePoint, while IT and developer users can build in Copilot Studio themselves. Now, there's two types of agents that can be built. These are the M365 Copilot agents. They are ready-to-use assistants, while Copilot Studio agents provide tailored solutions built specifically to fit unique organizational needs. Understanding the difference between M365 Copilot agents and Copilot Studio agents can clarify your strategic approach. So M365 Copilot agents are built directly into the M365 apps, webs, Teams, Outlook, SharePoint, designed for quick deployment and ease of use, focused on common business processes, primarily managed within the standard Microsoft 365 admin environment, while Copilot Studio agents are custom-built agents created through Microsoft Copilot Studio, tailored through specific workflows, specified tasks unique to your organization. They're managed through Microsoft Power Platform and Copilot Studio environments. A lot more control there, obviously, with the Copilot Studio agents since they're more developmentally made, right? Allowing more advanced customization and integration. So there's basically three places to create agents. There's the agent builder, which if you're familiar with the chat interface, right, that's the agent builder interface. Copilot Studio, which offers a range of building experiences to suit your expertise and maximize your impact. And then finally, you can extend agents further using Copilot Studio and Azure AI for services that are tailored to more Azure OpenAI and the AI solutions, right? So for today's conversation, obviously, we're sticking primarily on Agent Builder and Copilot Studio. So let's talk about SharePoint agents really quick. They are simple agents that can be made with a click of a button and target content specifically in SharePoint. Anybody with a M365 Copilot license can quickly create and share one, but you have to remember that if you share that agent as a Microsoft 365 licensed user, they all have access to it. But if you're a chat user, you're going to have your admin, if that really is an agent that those chat users need access to, whether it be a SharePoint agent or any other agent, pretty much, they're going to have to set up some kind of payment plan because those are metered scenarios for chat users to get access to agents, unless it's something that they've created themselves. And we'll talk about what they can do in a second. But if they want to get access to anything that's in the M365 ecosystem, like a SharePoint agent or any of these other agents like you saw Tim showing and John showing, and possibly even an external website agent, those are all going to have to be, those are metered applications that have to be set up as a pay-as-you-go plan or as a bulk set of licenses every month that are tied to your tenant. So there's quite a difference between the Copilot licensed user and the chat user. The Copilot chat user is designed to provide everyone in your organization with access to chat. It includes chat with GPT-4o agents, assessed through an intuitive chat experience, and it's based on consumption bases. So that's the key thing for chat users for connecting to agents. For M365 Copilot, on the other hand, you have this built right into your M365 environments. You can create agents in Teams, SharePoint, Outlook, all of those areas, right? So one of the questions we hear all the time is, do I need to pay to get started for Copilot Chat? No, you can get started with Copilot Chat using web chat, including features like file upload in Pages for free. Additionally, agents grounded in specific instructions that are written out, public websites and uploaded files are available to use at no cost. So that's the only exception that chat users get for free. Let me repeat again. Agents that access SharePoint or anything connected to the Microsoft 365 Graph Connector data will be billed on a metered basis for chat users. And you have to get your admin to set up and get a billing plan set up for those chat users to access those types of agents. So I don't want to beat a dead horse here, and I want to make sure we save some time here. But as you can see, the Microsoft 365 Copilot license comes with lots of things. It's a monthly cost. It's available for you for things like and then you also get SharePoint Advanced Management. You get the Copilot Analytics that we were talking about with the dashboards, all kinds of things like that. And then obviously there's a couple different ways to buy these metered consumption type of bases for your chat users. You've got basically pay as you go, and basically the pay as you go is only paid for what you use that month. And I'll show you some more information in a second about how that's calculated, but it's 1 cent per message. And then there's a discount if you want to buy 25,000 messages per month in your tenant that they don't carry over month to month. They get reset every month. Now, the question is how does Microsoft charge for this? Then the answer is these are messages, and messages are the unit of measure that an agent uses. The total cost is calculated based on the sum of the messages used by your organization. So with that said, each type of answer an agent gives has a different variable. So a classic answer, the simple answer that you've already pre-populated the answer for an agent is equal to 1 message. Generative answers cost you 2 messages. Agent actions cost you 5 messages. Anything that's tied to like a tenant graph connector is 10 messages, and so on. You can see how it gets complicated from here on down. For the most part, an M365 Copilot licensed user gets access to all these capabilities with the exception of some of these more advanced AI capabilities with Power Platform, flows and that kind of stuff. Not going to go there. We're going to talk a little bit about this on this next slide here. So I just gave you the definition of classic answers, generative answers, some of these more advanced capabilities like actions, triggers, deep reasoning agents and things like that. Then there's obviously these capabilities that allow you to create an agent with prompt tools embedded in them, and then agent flows. These are all extra costs, and I would definitely suggest, these are advanced things that pretty much developers are going to use to create more sophisticated agents. Each interaction with an agent might utilize multiple message types simultaneously. For an example, an agent grounded in the tenant could use 12 messages, 10 messages for the tenant graph and 2 for the generative answer, just to respond to one single prompt. So here's like some scenarios really quick. You got basically an agent that's on a website, and yesterday consumed 500 classic answers and 2,000 generative answers. You're talking about $45 a day. That's kind of the math. You have to kind of, and so this is how it's metered. Now, if you're using things that are in the tenant, it depends on whether your people are licensed with Microsoft licenses or not. And then you got to figure out the math there, because obviously the people that are tied to your tenant don't get dinged on a metered basis, right? So here's the math for this type of scenario where it's an HR policy. The chat users would be charged, but the M365 Copilot licenses wouldn't be not. So the last couple of slides here, I have 2 slides here. One is for commercial and one is for GCC. I know our folks are always wanting to know what's available and what's when. This is for commercial. So when I was just talking about metered capability, agents grounded in SharePoint, right? This is a charge for chat users. It's not a charge for Copilot license users. Agents that are based on events like incoming mail, some kind of trigger, it's charged here, and it's also charged for Copilot licensed users. And so forth. If it's a website, obviously both are charged because Copilot licensed users are not really covered for website agents, that kind of thing. So just be aware. This stuff is changing dramatically every month. You know, Microsoft is changing what's available for free, what's coming out. So keep checking back, but this is what's available in commercial today. And again, yes, you'll have access to this PowerPoint afterwards. Now in GCC, the story is a little bit different, right? Chat is just starting to be rolled out to the tenants as we speak. I know lots of GCC tenants have already been given chat access, but the thing is that while Copilot Studio has been available for GCC for a while now, the pay-as-you-go model is not available yet in GCC, only message packs. So just to remember there that you know, GCC users, there's only certain ways to do agents that are going to be metered so far today. Again, chat users are going to get charged. You know, they're going to have a message pack of the 225,000 messages if you want to actually start doing some of this stuff that's tied to the tenant graph. And then actually anything that's autonomous action agents, both of these, the Copilot user licensed users as well as the chat users would be hit on a metered charge for that as well. So just, you know, I hope this was helpful. I think we got a question here.
Yeah,
there's a question.
Ken,
Go ahead.
in the
Go
chat,
ahead,
there's
Tim.
a question on Copilot Studio licensing separate from M365 Copilot licenses. And so the Copilot Studio license last year was like $200 a month. I believe that it is not anymore. It's free.
Right. You don't get charged really for the license anymore. There's either the pack or the message, the per pay as you go. And when you do the pack, you can split it across multiple Power Platform environments. So you can start doling out, you know, this environment that's got this agent in it gets 10,000 messages. This one gets X, you know, so you can kind of divvy them up as well across the entire tenant portal. But yeah, the license itself does not cost any money. Obviously, it has to be assigned, though, as a license to users as part of an admin control.
Thank you.
Yep. So yes, I think we just answered the Copilot Studio license separate from the Copilot license. Yes. Even if you're a Copilot licensed user, you still need a Copilot Studio license, which again is free of charge, to start doing some of these agents that are outside of the tenant graph. So let's get to some questions. I know we had some questions that came in advance. One of the questions was like to know how to best create agents. Again, it depends on what kind of user you are, whether you're a chat user or a licensed user. As a licensed user, again, a lot of this is determined by your admin of your tenant, whether they've turned it on, whether they're assigning you licenses for Copilot Studio. You're going to have to get up with your admin, but basically you'll either use the agent builder, which is built into the chat interface for very simple type of agents, or you'll use Copilot Studio for more in-depth or task-based agents and things like that. There was a question on oversight and governance of agents. That is a huge topic, and that is one reason why
completely separate one.
Yeah, so we're going to have a separate conversation eventually. We'll do another You Already Own It session on that one alone as far as admin controls and governance, because that's a great topic, obviously, but we'd have no way we could cover that in this session about what we're having today. We talked a lot about pricing and messaging already and the credit costs, so I think we answered that question. There was a question about considerations between G5 users and F3 licensing. It has nothing to do with Copilot licensing. So there's no Copilot licensing in G5 or F3 licensed users. Everybody gets access to Copilot chat if the admin turns it on. Whereas Copilot licensed users, it's a separate license. Doesn't matter what SKU you're on for G5 or F3 or whatever. Is there a timeline for adding Copilot to GCC tenants? As I mentioned today, it's being rolled out. I'm hearing already that there's plenty of GCC tenants. It's a rolling wave. So if you don't see it today, it may be there tomorrow, maybe there another week. Chat, again, the tenant admin will have to turn that on, and how they decide to do that with web grounding, that'll be up to the tenant admin, obviously. There's a question about whether agents are on by default. Agents using metered consumption are off by default. Admins can be required to set up a Copilot Studio subscription prior to the use of these agents. These agents will be governed through your Copilot and Power Platform configurations. Agents that access SharePoint or the Graph Connector will be billed based on a metered consumption or your Copilot license if you own a Copilot license. I think we handled all the questions. Is there any more new ones in the window?
There's no more in the window, but the audience can, of course, come off mute
Yeah,
and ask
please feel
anything
free to
that
come
matters
off mute
you.
or ask a question. We'd be happy to answer. This is a lot of information. All right, well, I'll start wrapping things up then. I put a ton of great research links in here. There's so much information in here to learn from. I strongly suggest if you're interested in this topic, take some time, go through these handpicked. Believe me, I've spent a lot of time getting these links set up here. Great information. Take a look at it. If you're,
Can
yeah,
John and I use that to make a Copilot Studio agent that'll
there you
email
go. Ask me
everybody in the?
make it an ask me anything agent, right?
Yeah.
I think it'd be awesome. I love that idea. I love that idea. Let's do that.
Does the
Excellent idea.
audience? I mean, we'd have to figure out what the audience message consumption would be, but we could do
Yeah,
that.
that's right. That's right. All right. So just a reminder, this is the program you're watching today, the Cloud Office Hours, is part of the You Already Own It program. If you're not a member yet, we would love to have you on here. If you just happen to find this registration link, we'd love to get you officially onboarded. There's lots of benefits. There's a monthly newsletter. There's this monthly webinar, and then there's about 22 different workshops that we offer our customers that are free of charge, no sales. Happy to have these one-on-one conversations with you. If you're getting started on Copilot and don't know where to begin, we have a great M365 Copilot briefing session. Again, no sales, no cost. So please reach out to us about getting onboarded. Kim Snyder is the woman to talk to. We would love to have you onboarded as an official customer so you can start consuming these great benefits. The next You Already Own It will be on July 24th at 1 o'clock. It's always the fourth Thursday of the month. We would love to have you. A topic has not been solidified yet, so if there's something you want to see, please let us know. We'd be happy to accommodate that topic in the future. And just a reminder, we'd love to hear how we did today. If this was helpful, if it wasn't very helpful, we'd love to get your understanding of how you consume this information today. Let us know. And then finally, thank you for attending today's session on navigating the world of agents. We hope that you now have a comprehensive understanding of agents and how they can be leveraged to drive innovation and efficiency in your organization. Specifically, you now understand who can create agents and how they can be created and the costs of running agents based on licensed M365 Copilot users or not. We look forward to continuing this conversation and helping you achieve your Copilot and agent goals. As always, don't hesitate to reach out to us at YouAlreadyOwnIt at go-planet.com for any questions or further assistance. Thanks for joining us today, and a big thanks for Tim and John. These were incredible demos you showed us today, so thank you so much. That's a wrap. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for having us, Ken.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining.